All right, and finally we have Teklovossen. So Teklovossen is maybe the most interesting of them, of all the different heroes, right? So this one's like more mid-range focused. It's not super fatigue, although I guess in a Dash IO we probably will actually play a bit more fatigue. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of eat my words on this one. So we're probably gonna look to run things like, maybe we'll consider running Oasis, although I'm not super sure. The main reason here is we kind of want more reactive stuff for when they go for boom grenade plays. It seems important, right, that we have an answer for when they go to flip something powerful off the top of the deck. And if we're going second, it's a little bit tricky, but I think we're fine with maybe just the immovables here and not running Oasis. Although Oasis is quite strong because that actually lets us stop pistol shots pretty effectively. Maybe we'll cut the wounded bulls for the immovables and see how that works. Hopefully our opponent attacks us on turn 1. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but if it does, we're pretty keen to block with this sentry base arm because on our turn we can scrap it and then play it ourselves. The thing here is if they're boosting, we know they're going to play another attack. So we're fine just blocking cleanly for 3 and then hopefully blocking whatever comes after. I guess we're a little bit worried of them just passing turn here, like playing an item, not cranking and passing. Although I guess with enough blues, like we're fine just, dropping the sentry arms with Teklovossen's ability and then just drawing a card. So it's not super terrible. So it looks like they are going to crank. We'll see if they crank. I don't think they're going to crank this. So that means that actually, yeah, we can just use Teklovossen's ability here. We'll go ahead. We'll equip this at instant speed. Turn for us. I mean, our opponent has a really good setup. So I guess our best bet here is going to be trying to block out the best that we can. So we're just going to pitch to get the chest online. We're going to arsenal the head. And just have to have a 1-card blue. Boom grenade is scary, right? It's like the best way that they can push damage over. It's why we swapped in the unmovables just to have more ways to be able to stop boom grenade. We'll go ahead and we'll block 3 on this and then see if they have any kind of reaction, but I don't think that they do. We are like a little bit worried about like red 0 to 60, but I don't really think they have any breakpoints at this point. So at the risk of wasting the 1 point of value on the sink, I really just want to try to find a blue here. So we'll drop this. We did find a blue, so we got what we were looking for. It looks like it's just a symbiosis shot attack. We could block it. That's maybe an option. I guess it kind of is. We kind of do need to threaten the IO player with fatigue. I don't know if I would have done it for that personally, because it's just not enough. So we're able to stop it. Now they don't have Achilles anymore. We'll go ahead, we'll play our base head, and that is it. So we'll pass back. And now we're about to have all of our evos online by like turn 3, which is pretty sweet. You're gonna get expedite back. Pretty okay with that. Like we are gonna pivot to aggression at some point. Like Teklo leveler is gonna be a 1 for 3 with go again, so we can start having pretty cool turns. We'll see here. I think we're actually fine. I guess we probably should cover it for 5, just in case, right? There is like a boom grenade on the top of the deck. For our turn, we'll go ahead. We'll send the leveler for 2 with go again, and then we'll equip our sentry base legs and we'll arsenal our zipper hit. So pretty sweet, right? We've got all of our evos online. Now we can start playing really efficient numbers. So like next turn we could keep this and we could go leveler payload. That's our turn, right? Which is 2 cards for half of our opponent's life total, right? So I mean, this is 3 into 6, quite strong. We still have what? So each of these still have 3 block left on them. So we still have, what, 6, 8? We still have 8 health left on armor. We'll leave that on top. We're just looking for blues at this point. We need to make sure we have a blue each hand. Looks like our opponent is ending their turn. Maybe they're trying to hedge a little bit for fatigue. But unfortunately for them, like we do have a pretty decent hand. And we do know what the top card is, so we actually can boost. So if we really wanted to push damage here, we actually could just like pitch to send the leveler for 3. Actually don't hate that idea, and we don't have any items, so we can't scrap anyway. Especially with our opponent playing more passively right now, I do kind of want to push them for damage. They are at 17, right? So, Teklovossen is not a pure fatigue deck. If you want to play a pure defensive deck, you would just go play something like Guardian, right? Specifically, this deck is a little bit more interesting because it's a mix of damage that can pivot into bigger hands, more aggression, things like that. And we'll go ahead, we'll send the payload for 6. Means that basically at this point, any 2-card hand from us is demanding cards from our opponent. So we're pretty happy with this exchange. If our opponent decides to give us Ironhide here, we're also in a good spot because they could have pitched a blue. Yeah, I think maybe my opponent just like mismanaged resources a little bit on this turn. I think if you pitch the blue there, you're able to block for 4. You get to keep more cards. They just seem like they're in a tough spot, right? Like our turn, we're able to just do the same deal, right? Where we just go like, here we can block like that. So we cover up the whole thing, then our opponent doesn't even get the on hit through. We can Arsenal Fate Foreseen, and we're going to present 9 damage to our opponent without having to boost. So I'm going to go 3 into 6. So this is the end game for the deck, right? We have a blue, we have our 2 cost, so we just go pitch a blue, send Leveler for 3 with go again, then we play our 2 cost. Pretty strong deck, right? When it finally kicks into high gear at the end of the game. Like, our opponent's going to be playing on the back foot. We still have so much health left. It's crazy. I mean, this is a pretty good use, right? You're able to cover it all up. But, you know, it's kind of tough, right? To see how they're gonna get out of this. Here we have more of our 2 costs, right? So even our blues, right? We can go like Leveler, send Overloop. We'll just Fate for saying this. We have an immovable on top of the deck, so that's kind of interesting because if our opponent just passes here, we need a boost, so I'm actually going to put that on the bottom. Yep, so they did pass. So we'll send Leveler, we'll send Panel Beater, or I guess we could send, does it matter? I guess not a whole lot, but we'll boost the Overloop. It's like strictly better. There's a second immovable on top, so unfortunately our turn actually ends here. If we had the Cogworks base leg still, we could actually get our action point back. So, tad bit awkward, but we'll go ahead, we'll drop the Junkyard Dog into Arsenal. It's not super terrible, we didn't take a whole lot of damage to do that line, so it's not as bad as it could have been. This is for 9 here. We'll go ahead and we'll block 5, and then we'll just sink. Kind of no reason to sink anything. I guess if we find a red boost card, we could send it instead. Sure. Yeah, it didn't really matter, but I guess the main thing here, I guess we could actually get one of our base legs back, but I say we just push for more damage. And we can also scrap our equipment, which is pretty strong too, because we can keep on replaying the base legs onto each other, which is pretty nice. So it'd be pretty tough for our opponent to get out of it at this point. Like, we're still at 20 life, which is pretty wild. Zombie Shield. Yeah, we're still at 20. That's incredible. Like, we still have all of our equipment available too. So we're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna block like this. I kind of just want to see if we can just stay at 20. It's really BM, but I mean, like, the deck has performed pretty well, so seems not awful. I mean, to be fair, if you play this against like you know Ira or another top dog in commoner, it may be a tad bit different. So here's the thing: I think we're just gonna send the Leveler. I think it's just the way to go. Like, it's 3. They have to block with the card. We're gonna send Zipper Hit as well. They have to block with another card. I don't see how they get out of this. They just kind of run out of cards eventually. It's pretty tough. Yeah, they decided to scoop it up. That's fair. I don't exactly know how you get out of that one. So the deck performed really well. We had all of our Evos online super early. We had really clean blocks. Evos, of course, are great blocking potential. So that's kind of how the deck functions. Early game, you're a little bit more defensive. And then as you get the Evos online, you kind of pivot towards throwing more damage to your opponent. So even if my opponent, like, even if they were sending more damage and we didn't end the game at 20, we still wouldn't choose to block, right? We would still keep our hands that have throttle and a blue, so we're able to send 9 damage back at our opponent. Obviously, the difference is we could either block for 6 or we could attack for 9. We actually do need to present a win condition, so that's just how we do it. Yeah, pretty cool deck. So that's all 5. You know, some of the games are kind of non-games, they were just over way too quick. But hopefully there's enough information here, and watching some of the gameplay, or not, if not all of the gameplay overall, is able to kind of help you understand how these decks function. I mean, like, they do kind of all use the same card pool, just the overall play patterns. So hopefully these are helpful for you to pick up the decks. So until next time, thank you for watching.